So the one side is the maintaining of the border. The other is this attitude of generosity, especially to those who are suffering from persecution or in grave danger.
Our vice president, I can't believe I'm saying this in the year of our Lord 2025. Our sitting vice president just Thomas Aquinas pilled people on national TV to explain immigration.
But there's this old school, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way, that you love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country, and then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world. A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society. And I think the profound difference that Donald Trump brings to the leadership of this country is the simple concept, America first. It doesn't mean you hate anybody else. It means that you have leadership, and President Trump has been very clear about this, that puts the interests of American citizens first. In the same way that the British Prime Minister should care about Brits and the French should care about the French, we have an American president who cares primarily about Americans, and that's a very welcome change.
What is President Xi doing? What is Vladimir Putin
He's looking after the Chinese. Putin is looking after the Russians. They're entitled to do that. Thank God we now have an American president who's looking after the citizens of his own country.
So beautifully said.
And how about immigration, one of the most politically charged issues of our time? What can the common good tradition speak to that issue, to that problem, the complexity of it?
Yeah, and all we can really do, in our time is stay at a pretty high level of abstraction because, again, it's a notoriously thorny problem.
Right.
But some Catholic social teaching would say that a nation has a right to define and defend its borders. There are times, I think, and even in our rhetoric in the church, we can give the impression that open borders is the only right way to do it.
Right.
What would Jesus do? Well, he'd welcome the stranger, therefore no restrictions. Well, see, that's morally irresponsible for all kinds of reasons. Morally irresponsible in regard to people within a nation state, and yes, in regard to immigrants seeking access. And that'd be another show to go into all the details of why. But it's morally relevant for economic, social, political, cultural reasons for a nation to be able to monitor and maintain its borders. Maybe it's a little bit hackneyed, but the comparison is often, made with a wall and a door. At night, I close the door of my house and I lock it. I'm very happy to open that door to all kinds of people that want to come in, but, on my terms and with the proper negotiation and so on. Well, I know it's maybe a hackneyed analogy, but there's something right there where a nation has a right to maintain a boundary, but it has a door in it, and it opens that door when it's appropriate. We're a nation of immigrants. All that's true, So the one side is the maintaining of the border. The other is this attitude of generosity, especially to those who are suffering from persecution or in grave danger.
Mm-hmm.
Think here, Pope Francis, I found this very interesting. In our Catholic moral tradition, if someone's trying to break into my house at night, to rob something, well, of course I'm against that. And I'm going to lock the door against them and call the police. Suppose someone is in desperate danger. They're being pursued by an assailant. They're in desperate danger, and they're knocking at my door to give them shelter. Well, it'd be morally irresponsible of me to say, no, you're not getting in here.
Right.
So there's that moral nuance. Are there people indeed, in the world who are fleeing desperately terrible situations and are seeking, asylum in a country like ours? Sure, there are. And I think you've got to look at that on a case-by-case basis. And now, the minute we make that move, we're getting into the weeds. And I know you can't adjudicate it in a facile way. And I think that happens a lot on both sides. Whether it's a kind of xenophobic, get the foreigners out of here, or it's a kind of open borders, wouldn't Jesus welcome every single stranger? The right answer is in between there someplace. And Catholic social teaching honors both those principles I was talking about.
Yeah, the foundational principles appear clear there.
So I just want to conclude this video reflecting upon both of the clips a little bit, starting with J.D. Vance and then Bishop Barron. So what J.D. Vance is saying seems very reasonable to me. I do think there is a flip side, however. While he was talking, I was thinking of Jesus' parable of the Good Samaritan. Why? Jesus used the tangible love of an outsider to awaken the insiders to their need for God's love and the necessary fruit of good works to love others. In short, Jesus taught that love transcends ethnic, religious, and national boundaries. So it seems like a both and to me. Yes, there are orders to love. Obviously, if my kid is drowning and my neighbor Steve is drowning, it seems morally reasonable to save my kid first. But I should never use the order of love as an excuse to be unloving to my neighbor. I'll let you decide if that is what the Trump administration is doing or not with their recent immigration enforcement. Also, let me know in the comments below what you think about that. So what about Bishop Barron and his clip? So Bishop Barron's take is that moral nuance is needed in properly thinking about immigration. If a person comes into the country illegally, it would be immoral not to ask and or force those immigrants to leave, right? On the other hand, though, immigrants that have fled from danger or war, such as those in Ukraine and various parts of Africa, etc., it would be immoral not to welcome them. So I want to go back to that term moral nuance. It was very insightful to me. A nuance is a subtle difference in expression or meaning. As we all know, life is full of nuance. We all have to try to find the right balance in life. And it's not only life, but theology, and the Bible is full of nuance, especially its interpretation. It's no different in politics and the moral sphere. You can't logic chomp and or go by the letter of the law in all situations, especially, and this is crucial, when you're dealing with humans and God's creation. There has to be a level of understanding and charity that goes beyond our prerequisite ideas in every decision we make. Immigration is no different. So to conclude, I wonder how qualified the current leaders of this country are in moral nuance. Is morality a term used to cover political desire? Or are the best intentions of the common good really in play here? I'll leave you to ponder that question. All right, that's all I have for this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Remember that Christianity is Christ, and without Christ, there is no Christianity. Sorry for being a little quiet today. My baby's sleeping, so I think you all understand. See you in the next one. Bye.